But this could look funny. Why is that? Yeah, well, there can be many reasons for that. But basically, I think the main reason is that both parties here are focused on this problem. That's intuition. I don't have any data for that. Now, we want to be more self-reliant. We want to be more independent of Denmark. How can you do that? Well, you can work what we call Greenlandization. And the debate in Greenland has for a very long time been going on in two dimensions. You can do it either by recruiting Greenlanders and saying we want all the elite positions in the society, or you can say we have to do something about the spending we have. Okay? And this was basically Siumut's strategy. This is highly discussed, but be optimistic. At 10%, that's the maximum. All right? So what you see here is also a big problem with Greenland, and that is that there are not that many educated people. Okay? Putting not educated people in the elite, that might give a problem. For those of you who have been following the discussion in Greenland, well, nepotism has been one of the main problems that have been focused on for some years. And when you have a party in power for so many years that Siumut has been, it reproduces its own candidates. So we have nepotism, the dark side of networking, because of course in Denmark we call it networking, but in Greenland it's called nepotism, right? Yeah. So, the other side is the other way of Greenlandization, making Greenland more Greenlandic, okay? That is through education and trying to have economic growth. Well, the problem is it's just so slow a process, right? And bureaucracy, well, if you want competent people, if you want people with an education, well, where do you recruit? You do that in Denmark. All right. So they are normally Danes. And this sort of bring this problem on. If you have bureaucracy in the traditional way, you also have a Danization process, right? So we are catched in a, well, not especially pleasant situation. Okay, so this is sort of how things look. But now I'm going to say a bit about how do people feel? What are their attitudes? I have, with some of my students, been conducting two surveys. One when we had the election in 2008, and we did a survey up till the vote, some month ago. And we had different kinds of questions. A funny thing is that I was listening to the talk a bit earlier, and we were discussing this question about ideology and how thing is. The first time we did this questionnaire, we had about 5 or 6 questions regarding this issue. I can tell you one thing. How you think that things are and what you wish it to be, it is sort of like the same thing. So, the second time we did this survey, we only had 3 or 4 questions regarding this question of independency. But we asked, when do you think Greenland should be independent? Almost 80% says within the next 20 years. Okay, you just all look, well, it goes without saying. No, it doesn't. You have just seen the figure. Is this realistic? No, it's not. We would need so many oil money that you can't imagine. So this is not realistic, but the ambition is there, okay? Okay, when do you think Greenland can be independent without this leading to lower living conditions? Almost 70% says within the next 20 years, okay? So, the ambition for independency, that's quite high. We don't love the Danes that much. Okay? Then we have a bit of another question here, and that is, do you agree the most with A or B? Greenland should be independent as fast as possible. Almost 40% says yes. And what they actually could have chosen was this: Greenland should not be independent if this means a decrease in living condition. This is actually the question that's worth wondering about. Denmark is not that popular. Okay? Independency, the need for that is felt very much among the Greenlanders. Okay? So, now I have just promised something, because I think that was that's an interesting question, because if we have this, we're going to discuss that, or we can just take that, and then we are going to talk a little bit about the EU in the end, because if the feeling of getting rid of Denmark is so deeply felt, there is a possibility, there is a dark horse that hasn't been spoken about today. How about Greenland being a member of the EU? Yeah, well, I think that for many people in Greenland that has not been an issue, because what they did many years ago was to say no to the EU. And it sort of got a symbol, a cultural symbol of making a distance to Denmark. But the young people today, they don't feel that. It was before their birth. So, Greenland could actually be a member of the EU. Still also be a member of the Danish kingdom, and then evolve a bit faster to independency. I think that's an interesting thought. And I think when you're talking about the Arctic area and the issues there, this is interesting to sort of begin to think about. But let's conclude, because otherwise I think someone will switch my mic off. There is an ambition, and there is a new political agenda. There has been a turn. So now I think this is sort of, in 15 minutes you can have all the but. Economic independency before national self-sufficiency. That's more the politic today. That's more what people voted for, and that's more how they feel. Education before just focusing on being a Greenlander as a special competence. Okay, and there's probably oil. Problems, the economy, the educational level, it is low. Oil, 30 years from now, at least. Okay, and then we have this very interesting issue here, the greenhouse gases. Well, Greenland has signed the Kyoto, and that says that, you cannot evolve an industry. You cannot develop an industry because you have to have this low level of greenhouse gases. That's a good idea, because that was some years ago. How much industry is there in Greenland today? None. What are the Danish government saying? Well, honey, that's your problem. Then you'll have to go out and buy what you want. That will make developing oil industry in Greenland very expensive. I think that's very interesting, and perhaps to be a little bit provocative. Is that the new way of colonizing Greenland again? Sort of saying you can evolve. This is it. And then we all have Greenland as part of the Danish kingdom. Forever. Nice. So, no. Then I'm off.
Did we get the message? I think we got it. Okay. Thank you for a very, very fine performance.